Yo, YouTube, what's good? Today's a big day, man. We look over here, we got our class tuning coming October 8th, which by the time this video is up will be tomorrow. So if we want to look real quickly at the Fire Mage changes, we'll see some very, very, very nice changes to Fire Mage that we've been wanting for a long, long time. So basically, if you guys don't know, the current problem, or I guess current perceived problem for most players, is that Fire Mage doesn't press Pyroblast ever. The Flame Strike build is better, and you're kind of forced to take Glass Cannon, which is a talent that actually reduces your health by 15% and grants you 30% increased damage on Fireball, Scorch, and Ignite. And right now, Ignite does primarily your top damage in most cases. So playing without Glass Cannon sort of isn't viable. Forced to play Glass Cannon, forced to play with less HP, also forced to play Flame Strike. So lots of playstyle issues, I think, with that most players have. But I think this upcoming class tuning actually sort of goes in a different direction finally. So Pyroblast damage being buffed instead of Flame Strike. So this is something that hasn't been done in quite some time. And 20%, 20% is a really, really good number to start, right? So we could potentially see Pyroblast coming back as our main source of damage rather than Flame Strike. Fireball increase in PvP, Scorch increased by 100% in PvP, Ignite increased by 15% in PvP. So these three abilities are the abilities that were increased by Glass Cannon, and they were only increased by 50%. Now, what I think they're sort of doing is they're taking the damage out of Glass Cannon and giving it to Fire Mage baseline, and then some. So Scorch getting, 100% increase in PvP. That's way more than we were getting by taking Glass Cannon talent. Fireball increased by 150% in PvP. That's about a 50% increase, way more than we were getting than Glass Cannon. Now Ignite increased by only 15%. That's about half of what we were getting with Glass Cannon. So still going to do a lot of damage, and this is definitely a really, really good change. However, I think the reason this number isn't higher is to still incentivize people to play Glass Cannon. So now if you do play Glass Cannon, these are the changes they made to this, is it now decreases health by 30%, was 15, and increases damage done by Scorch, Fireball, and Ignite by 20, was 30. So basically Glass Cannon now is not a required talent, which is an absolute just W all around. You still can play it. However, it's a much, much riskier thing to play now because it's a 30% health deficit. And the damage that you get from playing it is like not insane. It's just basically 20% Ignite and 20% on your Scorch, as well as Fireball. So there is still place to play it. If you did enjoy Glass Cannon, boom, there you go, still playable. I think you definitely won't hard lock that talent in at like you used to. And then now the last change here is an actual Flame Strike nerf, which again is trying to push a Pyro, a Pyroblast playstyle, which is something that we all know and love as a Fire Mage. So yeah, now instead of increasing damage by 100%, it's now 50% on your Flame Strike. So again, these are absolutely the biggest W changes that we've seen for Fire in a long time. When it comes to the strength of the spec, will it be enough to make Fire Mage viable? In my opinion, yes. Will it be enough to make Fire Mage the best mage spec out of the three? Probably not. But this is a very good start, a very good direction. If Blizzard continues in this direction, it would just be the biggest W we've ever seen. So let's real quick just take a look at the build that I predict we will run. I'm not saying this one will be. I think you guys will have to kind of tune into either my Discord channel and my Twitch stream when these changes come out. That will be October 8th. I'll probably be live around whenever the servers go up. I hope it's by like 2 p.m. Eastern, but we'll have to see. Anyways, you can see here a lot of the talents we're running. So we're basically not taking any of the Flame Strike talents. No Quick Flame, no Mark of the Fire Lord. We are still playing Living Bomb talents. So we're still playing Explosivo, Convection, Explosive Ingenuity, and Lit Fuse. So your Living Bombs actually do like a decent amount of damage. Like the individual hits of Living Bomb are not that high, right? Like we can see like average 44k, peaking around 87k on the dummies. But this is still worth talenting into, because if you really take out all the Pyroblast, or sorry, all the Living Bomb talents, it's like, what are you gaining? Well, you're maybe gaining some Phoenix Flames damage, or maybe gaining some more Phoenix Flames damage, and then you have 2 down here to work with, and then it's like, you could play Fevered, but Fevered is nerfed in half in PvP, so it's not really that good. You could play Phoenix Reborn, but again, it's like, eh. Or you could go for just more living bombs in like a cleave situation, but this is the single target build, so it doesn't really make sense. So and if you were if you did that, you wouldn't have had any of the living bomb talents. So like I said, there's not really too much you could have done differently. I think there could be a couple, like 1 or 2 points different. Maybe you could take out intensifying for, you know, some talent. I don't know. But either way, I think this build is very, very close to probably being the build that you'll play if you play Pyroblast. When it comes to PvP talents, if we're not taking Glass Cannon anymore, then that sort of, and we're not playing the Flame Strike build, that definitely frees up spots. If you were the Flame Strike build with Glass, these were your talents, set in stone, couldn't really ever change them with how strong Ring of Fire is, how much you need that with Flame Strike build. So now we kind of have more, like 2 more talent slots, but the problem, I think, is that the Fire Mage PvP talents aren't that good. So Ice Wall is a really, really good talent. I've been having the most fun with Ice Wall. You'll see a video about some clutch Ice Wall kills here pretty soon. So definitely probably going to make a guide on how to use this ability to its greatest extent. And then for the other talent, it's sort of up in the air as to what you could play. Like you could play G-Pie, you could play Master Shepherd, you could play Fireheart. Fireheart obviously only being good into melees, so maybe against casters you would want to play like one of these two, but it's not really set in stone yet. I think this one is kind of just like you can kind of play whatever at the moment. And then for the left side of the tree, pretty much nothing new here. This is kind of the build that I like to play here. I do like the short block talents as a fire mage, since you only have that one ice block, and gaining more crit when your class is like kind of already 100% crit on most abilities. The barriers are like kind of nerfed in PvP, so cumulative is not like super amazing. And then the only changes I'm making over here are maybe going flows into some matchups, or if there's a matchup where I don't need remove curse, I'll play something like that. And then when it goes for Frostfire versus Sun Fury, we're 100% just locking in Frostfire right now. Frostfire Bolt trucks on Fire Mage. These are the ones we're running: Elemental Affinity, Severe, and Imbued. So now I'll kind of do like a little bit of a rotation just to kind of wrap things up a little bit here with the Pyro build if you guys aren't too sure on how to play it. Basically, Fire Mage works like this: you crit 2 times in a row and you get a Pyroblast proc. It's called a Hot Streak. So you have 2 abilities here that are 100% crit chance: Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast. You can see at the bottom, castable while casting other spells, meaning I could cast a Frostfire Bolt and cast it mid-cast. And it always deals a crit. Same thing with Phoenix here, always does a crit. So basically, yeah, you just use 2 of those back to back, boom, boom, Pyroblast, send that in. So that's like the basics, right? So there is one talent that we have to kind of think of: Spontaneous Combustion. Casting Combustion refreshes up to 3 charges of Fire Blast and up to 3 charges of Phoenix. So real quick, before you bust, let's just say you're going in the opener, right? You walk up to your target, you're trying to kill him. Just kind of dump all your instants real quick. Don't even worry about like spending the pyro. Just kind of dump at least all your Fire Blast. I wouldn't recommend doing all your Phoenixes. Maybe fish for a Ring of Fire at this point. Then you drop your Meteor, Combustion, Frostfire Bolt, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast. Then from here, you kind of just dump your instants. So Frostfire Bolt, boom, Phoenix, boom. And then you can see here this proc up here is a Scorch proc. You'll occasionally get Heat Shimmer procs, which is damage from Ignite, has a 5% chance to make your next Scorch have no cast time and deal damage as if the target was below 30%. And the reason that matters is because of Scald. Scorch deals 300% increased damage to targets below 30% health. So your Scorch procs are going to be hitting very hard. Yeah, every time your Ignite does damage, you have a chance to get one of those procs. Whenever you get to 5 severe temperature stacks, that would be the best time to spend your Frostfires. And then, yeah, this Scorch proc, boom, you send that in, and that hits quite hard as well. And I'll have this weak aura for the Heat Shimmer in the, it should be in my Discord channel, but I'll leave it in the video comments as well. So yeah, like I said, the rotation's pretty simple on this thing. So yeah, you want to just like dump all your stacks, try to, you know, get a 5-stack severe by doing that. You walk in, boom, spend all your instants. Okay, I have them all kind of spent. let me drop my ring, my meteor, my combustion, my frostfire bolt, pyro, and then you just keep weaving fire blast and pyro. And then once you run out of fire blasts, you can send in your phoenixes. Use your scorch procs too, those are higher priority than phoenix. And then once you're kind of in your downtime, so aka no combustion, you just weave instant cast. So pyro, did I crit? No. Scorch fire blast. Pyro, did I crit? I got a combustion proc, so yeah, I'll send in my frostfire. Pyro, fire blast, pyro. Did it crit? No. So I'll phoenix flames and fire blast. That's 2. That one didn't crit either, but I have a scorch proc, so I'll send that in. Frostfire proc, not quite at 5 yet. Okay, there we go. Now I am. Boom, send that in. It crit, and you just kind of continue with that. So it's pretty simple. I hope you guys, you know, have fun with this version of Fire Mage. Anytime fire is like pyroblast spam, it's definitely the best type of Fire Mage out there. Like the G-Pie thing in BFA, not a huge fan. Flamestrike build was like, you know, it was kind of fun for a little bit, and then it was like, okay, I just want to press Pyroblast again. But one more thing I want to talk about here before the video ends. What kind of gear should you have for a Fire Mage? Now, so like I said, your Ignite is your top damage. And if you don't know what Ignite is, it's your mastery. Your target burns for an additional 6% over 9 seconds of the total direct damage caused by your fireball, fire blast, scorch, pyro, meteor, phoenix flames, and flame strike. And with one of these talents, maybe it was this one. Yeah, we don't play that one, so disregard the living bomb as well. But basically any rotational spell that you're going to press is going to add a dot. So if I hit fire blast, it's a 1600 dot, but if I keep chaining them, it goes up. And then if I pyro, it goes even more up. Then if I do my combustion rotation, you'll see the dot goes way up. Way up. So by stacking more mastery, you allow this dot to stack higher and higher. And whenever your combustion is over, oh, also you can see it's ticking on 3 targets. That will basically just come through Master of Flame. Fire Blast spreads Ignite to 2 nearby enemies during combustion. So that's very, very important. And that'll sort of happen just passively. You know, you're gonna do your damage on the main target and press Fire Blast on them a bunch of times, and that will just kind of passively spread it around. But yeah, so right now I'm currently in a full verse haste gear because that's kind of the gear set you want to run for Frost and Arcane. And since I play all 3 specs, I didn't want to hard commit to mastery on this mage because conquest is not uncapped yet. Now I think if you play Fire Mage, I want to say a full mastery build would be it would definitely be the most damage. However, if you guys have ever played a full mastery mage, you'll know that playing with 0% haste feels very, very bad. Not only because your casts are slower, like Ring of Fire and stuff, but also haste affects your global cooldown. So this kind of timer that whenever you press an ability, every ability goes on cooldown, that also gets longer. So the play style feels a little slow, a little clunky at times. So I would recommend like a haste mastery split. Still make sure you have good versatility as well. I think like right now 25% is probably pretty solid, but obviously you want to shoot for 30% because that would be the cap. You can see here the true rating and the lost rating. Once you get to 30%, then you'll start losing rating. Like I guess you'll start losing value on the stat. This add-on is called True Stat Values, by the way, if anyone was curious. So yeah, you still want to stack up your verse as much as you can, like verse on every piece. But instead of maybe playing 30% or 29% haste, I would probably cut that down to maybe, it's hard to say, but anywhere between 15 to 20% probably, and then put the rest into mastery. And there's actually some other changes up here at the top that are going to play into Fire Mage's strengths a lot. So the Frostfire Bolt damage being increased by 15%. This already hits very, very hard on players. I've hit about 1.5-ish million on the high end. This Frostfire Infusion damage increase is sort of just kind of like a passive thing that kind of just triggers. It just does a little bit more damage now, which is pretty cool. Frostfire Empowerment, this I believe does not affect PvP because the PvP modifier is set to 30%. So I believe this is for PvE only. And then we have Frost Mastery now grants 2% mastery. So guys, that is huge. So you have a lot of mastery stack abilities. And you can see here that this stacks up to about 6 times, and then once you get that, it procs an excess frost. So that going from 1 to 2% is actually huge. That's an extra 6% mastery at the peak. And keep in mind, you also have another mastery modifier, which is Feel the Burn. Every time you Fire Blast or Phoenix Flames, you get a stack of 2% mastery. So you're going to have a lot of mastery just by stacking these up. Like, you can see my mastery has already shot up to about 16%, I believe it was there. So if you're stacking a lot of mastery and you get those procs, it's like your ignites are going to go crazy, and that will just be passive damage from you consistently just Fire Blast, Phoenix Flames, Pyro Blast, Scorch proc, Fire Blast, Frostfire Bolt, Pyro Blast. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really fun. Definitely check out my stream. Like I said, on October 8th, it'll be a Tuesday. I'll try to be live as soon as the servers are up, and we'll be playing the Fire Mage pretty much all day, testing stuff out on there, trying to find out if this really is the build. Maybe Flame Strike's still better. We'll maybe test that a little bit. And yeah, that's all I really have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Check me out on Twitch, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the stream tomorrow. Peace.